the London Bridge Sports Medicine Podcast.
Medical news, health, fitness.
With Dr. AJ Seth.
Hi there. Welcome to LBSM's Ask the Expert series. We put the important questions to our experts to give you the latest tips in health and fitness. Today we talk to Maddie, a podiatrist and expert in gait and movement analysis. We talk about flat feet and pronation and try to dispel some of the myths behind these terms. If you feel you suffer from flat feet and would like more information, please feel free to get in touch. Hope you enjoy listening. Hello Maddie, welcome back.
Hi, thank you.
So good to have you back.
Thank you.
Today we're going to be discussing pronation and flat feet. So you must get a lot of questions about pronation. What is it? How do I stop it? And I've got flat feet. It's really bad for me. I think there is a bit of a misconception about pronation and flat feet. And I thought it would be good just to pick your brains about, what pronation is and flat feet and why it's actually not such a bad thing to have flat feet. So let's start with pronation. Tell us a bit about pronation.
So pronation is a natural movement of our feet. We expect pronation throughout the gait cycle, so that's moving from one foot to the other. But it's a normal, natural movement whereby the calcaneus at the back of your heel will basically move inwards, and your forefoot might rotate outwards, and you end up with a flattening of your medial longitudinal arch. So that's what you typically would call flat when someone might come in and say, oh, I have flat feet or I have pronated feet. That's what they're kind of describing. But in terms of when I see it clinically or medically, it's actually just a very normal presentation. There is no such thing really as there's no such thing as normal. Everyone's normal is their individual presentation. So they'll often come in and say, oh, I've had flat feet. My grandmother had flat feet and she had this problem. It's hard to put it on the flat feet being the diagnosis. Is not really a diagnosis. It's only usually is used as an indicator towards a diagnosis if there's something that's going along that could relate to their foot positioning or foot posture.
And you mentioned like everyone has different foot position and different biomechanics, and sometimes that's genetic, and sometimes that's to do with ethnicity. It's to do where you are in the world. So certain races, for example, Afro-Caribbean, for example, will have naturally flat feet. So why is it so frowned upon then? Why has pronation and flat feet been given a bad name if they are just variations of normal?
Yeah, I think it's something that's just carried on, and it's a bit of a myth that you have flat feet and you have weak feet, and the two don't really correlate. Very often these Afro-Caribbeans or people that have been walking barefoot a lot actually have developed very strong, stable feet. We need natural pronation to allow shock absorbency of our feet. And in turn, that develops the strength and the intrinsic strength of your feet. So it's a little bit of a myth. And I think having too much pronation and too much movement in that medial column of your foot can be a bad thing. So I think that's maybe where it's kind of originated from, is that when you have a total collapse of your medial longitudinal arch, there are complications that can come from it, and whether the two and two have been put together that way.
And just for the listeners, the medial longitudinal arch is basically the inside of the foot, isn't it? Just
yes. Sorry. Yeah.
The arch of the
foot.
The
arch of your foot. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you go to a running shop, and most of the time they'll say, "Oh, you overpronate." So I think that sometimes is literally the only thing they do say, and it seems to be they say for every single person. They say they overpronate. Here's this shoe; it'll stop you pronating. And then, as a consumer, you go off thinking, "Oh well, I'm not pronating anymore." I mean, is that must be a complete myth then?
Yeah, well, to an extent, and it's a simple. You were in this box, get this shoe, and that's quite a simple way of looking at it. There's a lot of components that go alongside that. Typically in a running shop, yes, they'll say you pronate or you supinate or you don't. And therefore, here's a stability shoe or a neutral shoe or a kind of a half stability shoe, or like a small stability shoe or a neutral shoe. And I think for them in that perspective, that works because it's kind of a tick box thing. And when they do the gait analysis, it's quite slow motion. They can pick up if there is obvious calcaneal eversion on that arch of the foot. But totally blocking up and restricting pronation isn't a good thing. We need it naturally. And if you go and see someone like a podiatrist or a physio or a sports med doctor, they're more likely to actually go into depth and explain to you what's actually happening with your foot, and explain that we do need this natural deviation and movement of your foot, particularly for running, particularly for exercise. You want it.
Yeah. And I think that's the key here. I think the key is if you think you've got flat feet and you think you pronate, or you're not sure what pronation is it's getting that expert assessment, isn't it? To look at you walking and even filming you walking to understand what happens to the foot, because a lot of people think flat feet is just standing still. Oh, my foot is flat, but actually it's a dynamic process. The foot is continuously adapting and moving as we walk, so there needs to be some movement and some analysis of someone's movement to actually understand whether pronation is a good or bad thing for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also taking into consideration the left and the rights. Often you might have one foot that's slightly flatter than the other, or you might have one component or part of the gait analysis, the gait cycle, that we can see excessive movement or restriction. So that's why it's quite important to go and get it fully assessed.
Brilliant. Maddie, thank you so much. We always have lots of questions about pronation flat feet, so people are more than happy to send them over. I'll put your details in the comments and they can get in touch with us and the clinic. Brilliant. Thanks, Maddie.
Thank you.
Speak soon. Take care. Bye. Thank you for listening to LBSM's Ask the Expert series. We really hope you enjoyed listening. If any of the topics discussed are relevant to you, or you want to find out more, please get in touch by phone, email, social media, or visit our website. Thanks again, and see you soon.